Hey, church, today is the 11th, which means we're on Acts chapter 11. Acts chapter 11 starts with what we read yesterday. Peter goes back to Jerusalem and explains to the Jews the vision that we read about the sheet coming down with the clean and unclean animals, and what God said, saying that everybody is okay, that there is no such thing as clean and unclean, there's no such thing as common and uncommon. And so he's telling the Jewish church that and trying to get them to wrap their hands around it. But as people were spreading, as this is going on, as people are spreading because of the persecution, we see that a lot of the Jews were just spreading out, and they were finding the Jews in the communities and only telling those Jews about Jesus. They weren't going to those who were Gentiles, those who were unclean. But we see in the middle of Acts chapter 11 that some started to talk to the Hellenist Jews. And if you remember, from a couple of chapters ago, these are Greek-speaking Jews. These are Jews that would have grown up everywhere, but instead of Palestine. And so they were kind of Gentile, kind of Jewish. And so as the Jews were spreading, they were starting to talk to Hellenistic Jews. And then the Hellenistic Jews would have started to talk more to the Gentiles. And so we can see that this is starting to spread. And as this is starting to spread, we see that Barnabas got Saul. He went to Tarsus and got Saul and brought him back to Antioch. And Antioch is a great place. The church is really exploding there. And we can see that Barnabas and Paul stayed there for 1 year, teaching and preaching and teaching all the Christians and the Jewish Christians everything that they've learned. And we see that what's really neat is this is the first place in Antioch where they were called Christians. Well, while they were there in Antioch, many prophets came to see them. And one of them is Agabus. Now, Agabus we only see twice in the Bible, and we're going to see him in a couple chapters later. But Agabus comes to Antioch, and he prophesies that there's going to be a great famine. And so the church gets together in Antioch, and they started to send relief to Judea. They started to send food and money and everything through the elders of the church. Now, this isn't really a long chapter, but there's a couple neat things. Once we see that there's no people group, there's nothing that's outside of God's realm. Just like Pastor Tim talked about yesterday, there's no such thing as clean and unclean, common and uncommon. Everybody is ready for the Lord. And another thing we see when Agabus comes in, there's a part of the country where the church is going to go through a big problem. And what does the church do? They gather together and they support that church. And guys, that's what we want to do. We want to be able to support the Christians not only in our community, but in our state, in our country, and across the world. Today's prayer focus is for the officers, for our police officers that keep us safe, and for the wisdom and courage and the safety of them and their spouses, and also for our local firefighters and paramedics and doctors and nurses and all the other healthcare professionals we have. We have so many people in our community that literally take care of us. They are our heroes. And today as a church, it's a great day to lift them up. So be praying for our neighborhood heroes. Guys, I'm so excited that we're doing this, and we'll see you tomorrow on day 12. God bless.